our turn. It was the buzzers. And as one very observant press person pointed out, its controller is nothing that couldn't be done on the DualShock. Which is completely true. Of course we could have done it on the DualShock. The DualShock has 13 buttons, 2 sticks, and an up, down, left and right. Of course we could have done it. We've got 5 buttons. The DualShock has got 13 buttons, 2 sticks, and an up, down, left and right. And that's the problem. If I give that to my mum, if I give that to my gran or my wife, they're going to give up because it's a fantastically complicated bit of kit. You can drive a car with less controls than that. There's just no need. It's okay for people who've grown up with it, because when we got it, there was the Nintendo, which had 2 buttons and an up, down, left, right. And over like the last 10 years, they keep adding buttons until we've got 13 buttons. And it's completely unnecessary. Look at our controls. It's basically a TV remote control for kids. We've got 5 buttons. Anyone can use that, and no one's going to run away from it, because it's just so simple. And that's such a problem now. For so long, games have been made by gamers, making games for gamers, who then make games for gamers. And we've got this, I haven't researched this 10% figure, by the way. This is actually my boss's figure, and it's completely off the top of his head. I think it might be slightly bigger than that, but it's still the general idea that it's such a small percentage of the population just making games for themselves. And they're forgetting everyone else. They're forgetting the 90% of people who watch TV and go to the cinema and don't want to have to use 13 buttons and 2 sticks. And it's true. I mean, there's been a lot of success recently. We've got SingStar. Everyone knows, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have played SingStar. All you have to do is sing. Anyone can do that. You've got the Nintendo Wii. Again, it's fantastic. If you want to play tennis, you play tennis. If you want to go golfing, you go golfing. Anyone can play it. There's no barrier to entry there. And people like playing it. I'm always going around people's houses and being forced to play SingStar or Wii Tennis or Buzz even sometimes when I'm allowed to join in. And they enjoy playing these games because people like playing games. Games are fun. But for so long, we've just been making it so difficult to do this. And the last thing today, I think, is when you buy a game of Buzz, like I said, you get the buzzers. And you get 4 of them in each pack. And that is absolutely 100% essential. When we were making Buzz, we knew from the very beginning that we wanted this to be played by like 3 or 4 players, preferably 4 players at a time. And I'm a game designer. I've got loads of systems, and I've got at most 2 controllers for each system. The PlayStation 2, you couldn't actually even plug more than 2 controllers into it without a specialist bit of hardware. And if you're telling people, okay, here's our game, and if you want to play it in the best way, you have to go to the shop and spend £100 on extra equipment for it, they're not going to do it. And if they do buy it, they're going to play it like with 1 or 2 players and not get the point of it. They won't enjoy it because that's not the way it was meant to be played. So make it. I haven't got anything else about that. Okay. So make it accessible. Make it. If you know how you want your game to be played, then let it be played in that way. So the five lessons that we learnt whilst making Buzz is lesson 1: people understand the familiar. Talk to them in a language which is relevant to them. Lesson 2: let people shine. People like being good at stuff. Let them. Don't make them feel like idiots. Lesson 3: keep it simple. If people are confused, if they're wondering what they're meant to be doing, you're going to lose their interest and they're going to get bored and they're going to stop playing. Lesson 4: make it approachable. If your game's intimidating for whatever reason, maybe it's visually scary or it's got the wrong styling, people won't play it because they're scared to go anywhere near it. And lesson 5: make it accessible. If you know how you want your game to be played, then you have to provide the hardware or whatever it is to allow it to be played in that way. And I'm going to confess now, none of this is scientifically researched. It is all just my own theories and stuff that I've worked out. But I know I'm right. When we released Buzz back in October 2005, it charted at the fantastically high position of position 13. And then it went up to number 8, and then it went down. And we were a bit worried, to be honest. This is not a good sign for a computer game. We'd already had one flop, and we thought we were all going to be out of jobs. But it turned out, actually, games like Buzz, they sell differently. This is, as you can see, 6 months. It went up and it went down, but it did really well. Most games don't stay in the charts for that long. And what it is games like this, they sell on word of mouth. One person buys it, and then they go home and their friends come round and they all play the game, and then 4 people have played it. And then they can go out and they can buy it, and their friends can play it. And so it doesn't sell in one big lump sum, it just slowly keeps on selling all year long. And if you compare that to more traditional games, this is the Warriors. I don't mean to pick on the Warriors, there's nothing wrong with it, but it was a typical game that came out the same week as us. And as you can see, it went straight into the charts at number 3. All the gamers, they all went, yes, we're going to buy this game. And then they'd all bought it. And it just plummeted out the charts 3 weeks later. It's not there anymore because everyone who was going to buy it has bought it. There's only so many people who want to play the Warriors. And so you're only ever going to sell that many copies. And honestly, we've sold millions of these. I think we've sold, is it 9 million? Yeah, 9 million copies in Europe now. It hasn't even been released in Japan yet. And that's a lot. I mean, I think we've sold more copies than Halo. No one knows about, I mean, everyone knows what Halo is. No one plays it. Well, yeah, some people do, but it's quite, I don't even like Halo, I'm a gamer. It's just one of these sort of things which is for boys who sit in their bedrooms sort of like shouting at each other over Xbox Live. And it's okay, it does very well. I'm not slagging Halo off, but it's for such a small group of people on the big scale of things. And the non-specialist press, they love us. This is a BAFTA, it's about the biggest award you can get in England, really. That's the best social game. And we've got a Guinness Book of Records. Admittedly, it's for the best-selling video game console quiz series. But the fact that they actually bothered to give us a record for that means they like us deep down. And it's great, you get the tabloids, the Sun newspapers, not maybe the best read in the world, but they give us 10 out of 10 when one of our games come out. The gaming magazines don't. Edge, they gave us 4 once, they gave us a 6. They hate us. The gaming magazines hate us because they know what we're doing. We're making games that aren't for them. We're making games for people who shouldn't be playing games. And they look down upon us. I remember my boss, David Amor, he wanted to do a speech at the GDC, the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. And they almost told him that he couldn't do it because he didn't make real games. I mean, that's just so wrong on so many levels. Fortunately, we've got Nintendo on our side now, and they're doing a similar sort of thing to us. So it is changing. People, the specialist press like us more now than they did 4 years ago. They're starting to get used to us, I think. And of course, the public love us too. I'll be honest, this wasn't actually a picture of people queuing up for Buzz. But it's so nice. I've made games for years now. And it was all, in the old days, people would come up to me and they go, oh, what do you do for a living? And you go, I'm a game designer. And they go, oh, fantastic. And what games have you made? And you'd tell them, and they'd have no idea what you were talking about. Because it's just, they're not in that circle. Whereas now you can say, oh, I work on Buzz. And they might not have played it, but they've generally, lots of people have heard of it at least, or had friends who played it at a party they were at. And it's just really nice when you've just got a bit of recognition because you're making stuff that is relevant to more than just such a small group of gamers. And I think I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thank you, everyone.